The virus has now made inroads into rural India, but it is not the lack of proper healthcare facilities that is concerning. With the virus coming into rural India, the stigma associated with COVID in several villages and dependency on quacks for treatment is another huge concern. Here's a report from India's interiors.
Hanging on to life. A desperate struggle for survival in the blind spots of rural India. Patients with flu symptoms turned to informal caregivers in this rural belt of Madhya Pradesh last week. When the new surge has brought top hospitals in major cities on the brink of collapse, these images illustrate the plight of Indian villages. No testing, no beds, no trained doctors and nurses. Drips hung down from trees, hooked to patients lying on the ground below. Local authorities cracked down on quacks.
ये शासन के निर्देशानुसार अपन निजी चिकित्सकों पर या जो झोलाछाप जो बिना डिग्री के बिना किसी अनुभव के इलाज कर रहे हैं गाँव में, इनके ऊपर कार्रवाई की गई थी कल और इनको समझाई दी गई कि लोगों का सही सलाह दें ताकि अस्पताल जाकर के लोग अपने जांच कराएं। जिनको सर्दी खांसी बुखार है, सांस लेने में तकलीफ है, ऐसे मरीजों को अस्पताल भेजें और यहाँ पे जब जांच हो जाए उसके बाद अगर नेगेटिव आता है तो फिर इनकी जांच कराएं।
But the country's rural healthcare system is itself a victim of chronic neglect. Official data shows cities account for 2/3 of hospital beds when villages are home to nearly 70% of the country's population. Tested positive, this farmer Ashish Kumar quarantined himself on his fields in Bagpat. He chose his farmland for isolation because health centers around are in a pretty bad shape.
हॉस्पिटल जाने से हमें लगता है डर। हमने 27 तारीख में अपना कोरोना की रिपोर्ट कराई थी, जो कि 30 तारीख में हमारी रिपोर्ट पॉजिटिव आई। हम अपने खेत में ही यहाँ आकर 12 पर आइसोलेट हो गए। हमें हॉस्पिटल जाने से डर लगता है।
When he showed symptoms of COVID-19, this villager isolated himself in a brick kiln surrounded by a forest in Muzaffarnagar district.
15 दिन से ओट डालने के बाद से ही बुखार आ गया था और बड़ी हालत खराब हो गई। डॉक्टर ने भर्ती के लिए कहा तो मैं अपने भट्टे पे आ गया और बस एक आंध में यही पड़ा, यही खाना पीना, यही रहना करा।
A heart-wrenching image of the stigma COVID patients find themselves in. A villager in Srikakulam district became unwanted after he tested positive. Shunned by fellow villagers, the patient died in front of his wife and daughter. This young man spent 3 days under a tree when he came to know of infection. Villagers refused him entry. Health authorities took him to the hospital only after his video sitting under a tree went viral. A high cost for low priorities to health in the hinterlands. Bureau Report, India Today.
It's a wrap from me, Chaiti Narula, on this bulletin. For further news and updates, don't forget to log on to indiatoday.in or download our app.